What's going on, guys? What's up, Ricky? Not much. It's really warm today. Getting ready. Go into that spawn real soon. What's up? Love the channel. Love the Jigs. Caught 12 fatties yesterday in over an hour. Sweet, dude. That's what I'm talking about. What's up, Glenn? Yeah, we got a new jig head coming out if you didn't watch the short from yesterday. And I've already got pretty good orders for them. So I'm trying to get stocked up on them. Oh, you can't see my whole head. I look like a half head. There we go. But yeah, what I'm making, see if I can get it in focus. It's a pill head jig. You know, normally we just got the round heads, but these are actually pill head. But we're doing, you know, the custom paint jobs and the 3D eyes and everything on them. So something new. Let's see. I missed the message. Let's see. Snowstorm on Truman. Oh Lord, we actually got snow down here this year. Man, we haven't had snow in a couple years, but it only lasted a day, and it melted. Most of the fish down here right now are honestly in open water. The ones I caught last week were full of eggs. So I'm thinking middle of March we'll probably be hitting the bank. So I'm gonna try to, I may have a vehicle to get my boat to the lake in like a week or two. So I'm gonna hit the spawn really hard this year. I'm from South Carolina. Yeah, bridges are really good right now, especially if it's warm where you are, because the fish have to go through the bridge to get to their spawning areas. You'll tow my boat for me? I gotta clean it out first. It ain't been moved since April. You live in Leesville? I mean, we can go one day. Just add me on Facebook and we'll work something out. I don't mind going fishing with people. But nah, my boat's full of leaves right now. I gotta clean it out. It ain't been moved since last April. I crank the engine up about once a month. From MO, I'm guessing that's Minnesota. But welcome. Thank you for checking me out. A lot of people say I don't work, but here I am. Nah, thanks to all you guys. I'm lucky enough not to have to clock in, but I do put a lot of hours into this shop. Oh, Missouri. I think is that what he said? I don't know why my messages keep going away. Yeah, Missouri. Hi, bud. What's up, Glenn? You know, Spencer, that is 100% right. I mean, I don't know if I've ever said it on the channel, but without my wife believing in me and telling me to go for it, because I worked at a plant for almost 9 years here where I'm from, and I hated clocking in every day. I hated I mean, it wasn't bad work. I was a forklift driver, so I mean, I had an easy job to begin with, but at the same time, I'm out here teaching people how to fish and making stuff for them to fish with. What's going on, Johnny? I liked your new video. If you're from South Carolina or around the area and you haven't checked out We Out Here, or Out Here, I think that's what he says. He's a new YouTuber, up and coming. He's a local to me. We'll eventually be in the boat together real soon. But yeah, doing something I love is not. I don't hate coming to work every day. I'll tell you that. Especially don't hate it when I'm filming because I get to fish. Biggest striper on Murray, 36 inches. I don't know how much he weighed. I caught it probably when I was about 14 or 15 at Crane's Landing. That was before Crane's, I don't know if y'all remember, but Crane's Landing used to be really rocky. And now it's just full of, well, past the bridge, it used to have a lot of hydrilla before they had killed it. And I remember catching some big bass back there. But then they killed all the grass, and the bottom at Crane's is just silt now. But it used to be really good for stripers. Oh yeah, Spencer, it's a fun thing to do. Like, it costs, I mean, it's not the most expensive hobby to get into. I mean, I bought everything to start airbrushing bass lures, and it was probably more expensive buying all of it than it was to actually get into making your own bait. It's just figuring out which mold you want to start with. Guiding, I can't really guide. You have to have a license to guide. But if you want to go fishing, we can go fishing, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm a better teacher than a guider, I guess. But no, I don't really offer any guiding. But if you ever want to go fishing, you can contact me on Facebook or Instagram, or email me. My email is in some of my videos in the description. But no, I do that a lot. I take people out and teach them their electronics and stuff like that. I don't really ask for no money or anything. I just like going fishing. And that's just me. I would like to. Okay, yeah, well, I live in Prosperity too, so probably not far from him. I'm about, I don't know, 15 minutes from Big Man's. Hey, that Striker 4, that thing's about like live scope if you ask me. Because I had it on that Polar Craft, and it never lied. Even the fish ID was really good. What's going on, Lyle? But no, that Striker 4, that's a good depth finder for 80 bucks. I caught a lot of fish with it before I got the live scope. Wow, did you see these new jigs? I'm gonna have to send you some so you can tie something with it. Johnny, you always working. I don't see how you do it. Oh yeah, that striker would be real good on a kayak. That's the main reason I really don't like Lowrance, however you want to say it, is because I've had, well, the HDS series of Lowrance is really good. Like the one we have on the Crappy Man boat. Like it's really clear. The side image, if you get it dialed in, it's really crisp. But like the Hook series, my brother on the Ranger that we fish in the bass tournaments, he has a Hook 9. And the side imaging works on it, but everything else, I don't believe nothing it says. Or any of the Hook series, I don't like the Hook series. I just think they lie and just show a bunch of clutter. But any Helix, I love a Helix. The HDS, Lowrance, the Strikers. Yeah, I heard that. We got a Helix 5 with side imaging somewhere in this shop. I think we lost the power cord to it. I don't know if Daddy wants to sell it or not. But it was the first one we ever had with side imaging. It's somewhere in the shop. The Hook series is really cheap, but everyone I've owned, I think 2 or 3. I think there's 2 of them in the shop also that I've taken off whatever boat. Because I mean, they're only like 130 bucks for the Hook 3, or not 3, but like the Hook 5 or something like that. But yeah, everyone I've had never read right. I'm not saying that there are probably some guys out there that have them that actually read right, but I didn't like it. Like I said, my brother's got that Hook 9 reveal, and it does okay, but it wants to freeze up and everything, especially when you're running. I love my Humminbird, but I had to get rid of it in December. I fell short on a little bit of money. I had to sell it, but I don't really need a depth finder. I mean, once you got live scope, man, you just throw the trolling motor in, turn that thing on 75 foot, and find whatever you want. My mold done got cold. Oh, see if I missed any messages. Live scope looks like a whole nother level. It's honestly, I don't know. I want to say it's easy, but I have been using it over a year now. I mean, that's the main way to catch crappie right now, is to go in the creek channels and just look for open water fish. In the last video, I caught most of them just out there in the middle of nowhere. I'd happen to see them on the scope when we were going to brush pile, and I throw to them. But I know, like, you can still find them on downscan like that and just turn around and catch them. So don't think you need it. But, oh. If y'all have it, y'all see that new color we made? That thing pretty. I appreciate it, Eric. I plan on it as long as the good Lord lets me wake up every day and get out here and chase these fish. I try to teach y'all how to catch them while I'm doing it. I'm gonna keep on keeping on. I let the mold heat up. The 132 was making good, but the 116 wasn't making nothing. But I believe it's supposed to be warm for like the rest of this week. But every year we get like this false warm up. Be like, yeah, fish about to spawn, water's about to get in the 50s, and then it just drops back down to like 30. Make no sense. While pulling, we don't really do much pulling. We tight line. Like, we were supposed to go tight line today, but the wind is outside. The Crappy Man's on the water right now. He probably almost got a limit by now. But we were supposed to go tight line today with minnows, and we were going to use jigs and minnows because there's a lot of fish, like I was saying earlier, in the channels that are just hungry. And if you go to the brush piles are stacked, but the fish don't want to bite. But the ones in the channel, they're really aggressive right now. But if I had to choose something to pull, I don't even know if I have any of it made. We make a little curly tail. It's a 1.5 inch curly tail. We don't really sell a lot of them though, so I don't have none of them made right now. But like the fluke's really good for pulling, especially if you use a size 6 or a size 4 hook, because the hook's only going to come right there. So the action of this while you're pulling is just crazy. And also the beaver, if we do tight line or anything, I'll actually hook the beaver on sideways and take these tentacles off of it, and it'll act like a swim bait. So that tail will start swimming like a little swim bait. And the minnow has good action pulling too. Oh, hey boy, what you doing? We out here with the 1999 Johnny. Trying to make a man blush. I'm going to have to make another order for jigs. I'm running low. I think the cheap jig heads are tearing them too fast. Ridiculously windy today. That's why I didn't go. Yeah, Spencer, hang on. Like, that's the main reason our normal jig heads don't have that keeper right there. Because you can honestly thread this thing like 1, and then you can just mess it up. 2, mess it up. 3, and I mean, you're not stretching the plastic at the head of it that keeps it on the bait. And that's the main reason we don't use the keepers, because I mean, plastic, you can make plastic really, really hard, but at the same time, it's still going to stretch out eventually. So with no barb, you're not putting stress on the end of that jig. I mean, yeah, a fish may mess it up and everything, but that's the main reason we don't have a barb. But yeah, Johnny, over here with a $20 dono. Hey, that's my first donation, so I appreciate that. Like I said earlier, he just released a perch fishing video, catch and cook. He good at them perch. He like the old fisherman out there. Yeah, Johnny, we get you some. Like I said, next week. I don't know what days you're off or what days you can go, but just message me on Facebook. You need pinkies. What is pinkies? Oh, the pink jig heads? There we go. They're making again. I think I got about 100 of these to make today. Ugh. It's my mama's birthday. Oh, the beaver. Oh, the new crappy candy color. Hang on. Do-do-do. You talking about that one? See how it goes from dull, and then when you turn it around, it's like, I don't know, it looks like a piece of cotton candy. Ugh. Yeah, that wind is blowing pretty good. Blowing the door open. Better let you go. I need to go shovel the deck. Oh, God. Yeah. I hope it warms up for you. Appreciate you stopping by, though. Let's see. Yeah, Johnny. You just we can go next week. Stop by the shop, and we'll either make you whatever you need, or I might already have it made. Oh. What'd y'all catch some perch on today, Johnny? Or not today, but in your video today. Will it just cut herring? Boo-doo-doo. My dang lead pot is ancient. It keeps leaking. So I got like a little shield here so it don't throw lead on my phone. I got a piece of lead right here on it. I'm scared it's gonna crack my phone protector. I plan on doing a lot of lives. Like Johnny got me a battery pack, so I'll be able to charge my phone while I'm out there. So I'm gonna find some fish out there and try to go live and show y'all how to catch them live. That sounds fun. Yeah, the main place we catching fish right now, if I make a video on it, it'll be full by tomorrow. See, Bid Kid 2020, I think it said. I use 4-pound Mr. Crappy High Vis on my like dock shooting casting rod, and I like the sniper braid on my pole, and I've got a 6-foot rod I use 6-pound Mr. Crappy on. But I love the braid on my jig pole. Just straight braid, no leader. Just the sensitivity on it and just not worrying about losing a fish once like you get him. Like, I mean, yeah, he can throw the hook, but he's not going to break you off. And I use a loop knot 90% of the time. Yeah, I like high vis line just because you can see it. Yeah, Spencer. He's new, but he's doing pretty good with his videos. Out there grinding. I think my main problem is the dang lid don't want to come out straight. That's a drip. There we go. We'll be making some hibachi tonight. I got me one of them Blackstone grills. Man, I love that thing. You cook by anything on a Blackstone. Thought about making videos, but I'm not technologically. I mean, honestly, you can do videos pretty much from your phone these days. I mean, yeah, they're not going to be high quality or nothing, but and even the GoPro, if you just want fish highlights, it has an app, and it'll go through all your footage and pull out highlights and make a video itself. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but editing ain't too bad. And the pound of the braid, I believe it's 5-pound test braid. I want to say it's called sniping braid. But what's that? I used a braid in a video a couple months ago, and I want to say it was 5-pound test. I forget what company. Oh, they even gave me a discount. I do not remember what company it was, but I didn't like it because after a little bit the braid like turned colors, so I switched back to regular line, and then Crappy Man ordered some sniping braid, and I put some of that on there, and I've been using it about 2 months now, and it ain't turned colors yet, so that's good. Yeah, I like the high vis just because, like today, is really windy. You could go out there and throw in the wind, and you're able to still watch your line. So if your line jumps, you can still catch the fish. That, and it's cheap. I have honestly never used fluorocarbon for crappie fishing. I don't know. I mean, it probably works all right. I use it for bass fishing, but I only use it on one rod. I buy a 12-pound fluorocarbon for my crankbait rod, and that's the only rod I'm going to spend that much money on. Everything else is getting trilene, big game, 12-pound, 15-pound test, and 20-pound test on the flipping rod. We got a Jackson Farm bass tournament next month that I will probably be at. I love crappie fishing, but there's just something about a bass tournament I just love too. Ow! I guess it's the competitive nature. I don't know. And I mean, it's the community out there too. the little club that we fish with, I mean, they got a great following and stuff. It's just a good environment. Oh. Bum, bum, bum. Bass fishing on Murray, like right now, is really hard unless you know what you're doing. A tournament like 2 weeks ago was 28 pounds, won. But me and my buddy Brian went out last Friday, and he caught 2 fish. And I think we fished for 11 hours, and I didn't get a single bite all day. And I mean, we fished the river all the way down to Drew Island and back. I don't know what they was doing. Even with the live scope, I mean, I would find what I assumed was bass, but I ain't caught a bass with live scope yet. But it's a learning thing. I got live scope last year in March, and my truck tore up in April, so I ain't got as much experience as I would like with it. Oh, missed the message. That's all I fish for: bass, bluegill, and crappie. Yeah, that's pretty much me. I mean, I'll dabble with the stripers just because they're really easy to catch most of the time, like with top water or throwing an A-rig or something. But other than that, I don't really mess with anything else. I might go camping or something and catch a catfish, or mistakenly catch a catfish when I'm crappie fishing. We do that a lot. Striper is all about electronics, honestly. Like, I had to reply to my wife. But if you can find them with your electronics, they're one of the easiest fish, in my opinion, to catch. Like, you know, with live bait or a spoon or a hair jig. But the trick is finding them. There we go. Especially when they want to bite a top water, that's when it's real fun. You find most of them with downscan, honestly, or 2D. You go over them and it looks like a piece of spaghetti. Like, well, not a piece of spaghetti, but like a bowl of spaghetti. And it'll be a wall of bait fish and then a bunch of stripers up under them. That's when it's fun. And almost every year they get around, what's that point called? It's the point where Larry Coon's Landing is. I'll say it's like Shoal Point or something like that. But every year they get out there and man, you can just wear them out with top water real early in the morning. Well, you'll know when they're there. My phone fell. You'll know when they're there because there'll be like 50 boats out there. I went over Big Man Bridge a little bit ago, went to the grocery store, and there was probably 20 boats in this one little area, and I'm like, man, I can't do it. Yeah, Shoal Island, yeah. But yeah, they get out there pretty good. Probably, it's right about when the herring spawn, so about around April, May is normally when I catch them there. But around April and May is when the crappie are really good on brush and the bass are hitting a frog, so it's really hard to get me to go down there and chase stripers. Oh, that's how many 132s we've made so far. Probably about 40, I guess. Yeah, I mean, using a live bait doesn't sound fun to me, but going out there with an Alabama rig or a spook or fluke or something, that's all right. And you can only keep 5 of them, so it really don't, like, if you can find the school of them, it normally don't take too long to get a limit, especially when it's 5 and done. Unlike summertime crappie, where you catch 1 or 2 on this brush, go to another brush, might catch 1 or none, then go to this brush and catch 3. So you end up running like 30 brush piles in one day, and my phone keeps falling. Y'all can tell I know how to do this live stream stuff. But fishing's fishing. And any day on the water is better than any day in a plant or a job or something. Oh, appreciate that, Spence. I don't know if you ordered any. I got a couple orders last night, but they were, I think most of them were repeat orders, if I ain't mistaken. Unless he ordered a starter kit. I think I sent out 2 starter kits yesterday. But I mean, yeah, if you're learning how to crayfish, using minnows ain't, like, don't be ashamed to use minnows. Some days they like them better. But every time I've ever bought them, the jig outproduces them, so I stopped buying them. Because if y'all remember my older videos, I used to have, you know, the rod holders on the front, and I'd buy minnows and put them out, but the jigs would just outfish them. I call them bonus fish. If I put a minnow out the side, it's going to be out the side of the boat, and then I'm going to fish normally. And if I happen to catch one on that pole, hey, that's just a bonus fish. I mean, with you being on a kayak, artificial is probably a lot easier. Which I say that, and old Johnny here, he'd be taking out 2 dozen herring on his kayak trying to keep them alive. Knowing if you look at a herring wrong, he dies. Shad, too. I can't believe the old crappie man's still out there fishing. I mean, the wind is whooping it. My dang phone keeps falling. I got 2 tripods, and neither one of them sit right. I don't know. I gotta figure that out for next time. Yeah, the kayak is kind of fun though. I ain't gonna lie. I had that bonafide 127 and got out there, and the channel catfish were actually spawning at Black's Bridge. And man, every time you hook up, they would fight you all the way to the buoys, and then you got to paddle all the way back. That's why I really gave up on the kayak. I wouldn't mind it with a foot pedal, but man, that paddling, no, that ain't for me. Give me a dang trolling motor out there. Do you keep your minnows in an aerated tank? Yeah, I got one of them those yellow bait tanks from Walmart, and I used a little battery powered aerator thing throw in there. Ain't nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. The only time they really die is like in the summer. I have a bait tank in my carport. Yeah, that is true. We used to have a big one that we keep minnows in, but I don't know. Too much hassle. Lake Murray sleigh ride. Yeah, especially if you get a big old striper or something on that thing. I bet it does pull you around. But I know that guy, what's his channel? Catfish Kayak or Kayak Catfish or something. He be catching like 60 to 80 pound blue cats out of his kayak like it ain't nothing. Which, I mean, some people go out there and chase them big sharks. They about crazy as hell for that, but I guess they hold up. I was scared to stand up, and my legs would start shaking when I get up. Oh. See what time it is. Dropping my phone. Alright, 2 o'clock. Jesus Christ, come on, phone. I got this thing propped up on a dang, on one of these. What's going on, Brian Simmons? Oh, I couldn't fit in the 10. You talking about a 10-foot kayak, huh? I had the 12-footer, and I was still scared to stand in that thing. And it was rated for like 400 pounds. I mean, I don't weigh but like 300. But I don't know. If I got one, I would probably get that one with the spot lock in it. That wouldn't be too bad. I think they're only like 3,500. I forget the name of that brand. I want to say it's like, dang, what's the name of that brand? Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. But it's like 3,500 for the one with spot lock in the middle of it. I see some people with kayaks and motors. I'm kind of like, what's the point? Yeah, I agree with that. But at the same time, kayak is a lot cheaper to get than a boat most of the time. And some people, you know, they just got cars and stuff. So I can understand that, but I can understand what you're saying too, because for about 3,000, 4,000 bucks, you could go on Facebook Marketplace and get you a little John boat with a working motor and stuff for the same price that you spend on these high-end kayaks. But they do get in places that, you know, boats can't. You ain't never had one with pedal drive, Johnny? We're making 1/16 pillhead jigs and 132 pillhead jigs, and eventually they'll look like this one right there, something like that. I have a boat too, Duracraft with a long tail. Why don't you use the boat? What's going on, 922 Crappy? Yeah, I believe the pedal kayak, I would like that better. Because when I was using my kayak, I was mostly bass fishing out of it. And then you would cast, and then the wind would blow you. So like, if you're trying to throw a jig or something and you're trying to let it hit the bottom, the wind blows you and just starts dragging your jig. So you're like, cast, paddle, 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 work your lure, paddle, 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 work your lure, and then not get a bite, and you did all this work for nothing. But I believe with the pedals, you could cast and, you know, pedal while you work the lure, and that'd be a lot better. There is a video coming out tomorrow about the crappie spawn. Took the motor off to build a 625 Predator motor. Oh, I got you. Hey, 15 mile an hour. That's what we started with the green boat on. We had a 15 Tohatsu. That thing would crank up like it's nothing. But when I got in the boat by myself, I don't know why, but it wasn't playing out with me in the boat. So I switched to the 25 that's on there now. So I guess I'm calling myself big without calling myself big. Yeah, but I mean, like I was saying, with bass fishing, you don't want to anchor every time you want to fish a dock or something. Or fish a lay down. Those kayak power poles are actually pretty cheap. I think you can get them relatively cheap, honestly. But then again, that's putting, you know, all these batteries and stuff on your kayak, and you're gonna go out there and flip it, lose all your stuff. That's like that guy, Fluke Master. That dude probably got like a $10,000 kayak. Like, I could get the bass tracker I've been wanting for $10,000. Hey, 20 mile an hour in a John boat, you'd be flying. That camouflage John boat I had before I got the Crappy Man boat, I could hit 28 in it when I took the deck out of it. Because, you know, I built that deck for bass fishing. I ended up taking it out because, you know, the hole was under it where it was leaking water. That's why I got rid of it. But I took it out and I was hitting like 28. It scared me a couple times. Cause you be gone. And that red boat I be fishing in, it's got a 50 on it. I love that thing. I hear you, Lyle. I got stuff to tie jigs with, but I don't know. I got so much stuff at the shop to make already. I don't want to occupy more of my time by tying jigs. I want to say I got some somewhere around here that I tied. Oh, what is this? Yeah, there's one right there. It ain't nothing special. It's got this little chrome thing on it. That's an old jig though. But I bought some, what is this? Strong Marabou fluorescent yellow like 2 years ago, and I've tied like one jig out of it. Do I ever fish the Little Saluda River? Yes, it is time for the Little Saluda River, honestly. Hopefully, I'm praying to God. Y'all can't see my face. The phone probably gonna fall. But hopefully, I'm praying to God in the next week or two, I'll get something to put my boat in the water. There's a lot of places on the Little River I want to look. Because normally, right when it starts heating up, that's when the Little River gets good. The bridge, and I got a couple brush piles between Little River and Big Man's I like to fish too. Yeah, thankfully my brother is actually working something out with the truck. Not the original plan, but if it gets me on the road, that's what I'm worried about. Oh, let's see if I missed any messages. Oh yeah, Tiger, you do got some of Daddy's old hair ties. Yeah, he said he catches a bunch of bluegill and stuff on them. Restoring an 89 Gambler GT. Supposed to go 60 mile an hour. Oh yeah. My brother has a 150 on his Ranger. But he's got a hot foot on it. He set it to like, I don't know, like 40, 45 mile an hour if you press it all the way down. I mean, that's all we need. There ain't no point going faster than that. Yeah, Barry, I hope it gets figured out also, because it's been long enough. I love fishing with people, but there was just nothing like being in the boat by yourself, just you in the water and figuring out what the fish want. Yeah, I've been with a couple bass fishermen that, you know, there is no in between. It's either we're idling looking for fish, or we're going as fast as that motor will possibly make that boat go. I messed up one time. The guy messaged me when I first started the channel. He was like, "Hey, you want to go bass fishing? Meet me at Big Man's." I'm like, "All right, cool." And it was like, I don't know, 30 degrees out. So I put my overalls and everything on. I get in the boat. I didn't bring no sunglasses or nothing because it was like a cloudy day. That joker hit about 65, 70 mile an hour in that bass boat, and it's 30 degrees. Man, I thought my eyeballs were freezing. That's a scary stretch to go through. Oh man. This will be my first year I fished for crappie in 32 years. I've been fishing for brim and shellcracker. Did you mostly fish with like red worms and stuff for the brim and shellcracker? Because like going from live bait and stuff to artificial, it's a totally different bite. Like if it was me personally, and that's what I fished for my whole life, is like brim and shellcracker with like red worms and stuff, I would probably start with minnows, like put a jig on and then tip it with a minnow, and actually just hold the rod until you get a couple bites or a couple fish in the boat. That way you can feel what a crappie actually feels like on the rod itself with the minnow, and then start working your jig. And then as you work your jig, you'll kind of, you know, in your head, well, this is what a fish feels like. One of the biggest tips I can give anybody, like if you're sitting at home, tie you on a jig and cut the shank of the jig off so you don't get hung. Like right here, just cut it off. Sit, get a chair or whatever, get in your boat in your yard, and put trees or whatever in your yard and just throw out there and drag your jig through it. And mentally you'll kind of start to pick up, well, this is what a brush pile feels like. Then you can tell when you get a thump or you just go over a limb. You don't lose as many jigs that way because you don't jerk as much. But when you do jerk, that's when it matters. It's something to do at home too. Hey, I like using crickets now. Those catch some fish. They catch crappie too. And yeah, Tiger, it was helmet weather. I needed one. But yeah, I mean, if you're starting, I would start with a minnow and get a couple bites and actually be able to feel it. And then if you want to go to artificials, go to artificials. Talk to me about casting retrieves with jigs. Honestly, there's a lot of different ways. Like, hang on. I mean, you got your normal throw it out there. You sit there and wait for your line to come back to the boat. That's the most simplest one, and that one works 90% of the time. And then you got, you got your little depth finder up there, a live scope or whatever. And you're like, oh, well, the fish is at 8 foot. I have a 132 ounce jig head. It takes around 10 to 12 seconds to get to 8 foot. So you throw it out there. In your head, you're like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, etc. And then you start to slowly wind and keep that jig in that 8 foot. And that's another retrieve. And then you got the crappie man retrieve, what I like to say, because I don't even be knowing he's doing it, but when I rewatch my video, I'm like, why does he do that? But he takes it and he throws it out there, and he waits for it to come back, where he wants it, and he'll whine and stop. Then he'll whine a little bit more and stop. And then he's like, "Oh, I got one." And I'm like, "No, that's too slow for me." But it does work. That's just a couple retrieves. It's honestly hands on. It depends on what the fish are doing that day. That dang lead about popped me in my face then. I was hoping I could stay live long enough for the crappie man to get back so I can show y'all the fish, but I think my dang battery's gonna die here in a little bit. Definitely been fun. I'm gonna have to do these like maybe once a week or something. I want to get out in the water and actually live stream. That's gonna be fun. Alright, let's see if I missed any messages. I used to live near the water river. That is where I fish for crappie. What do you mean, like Watery River, or is it a river called Water? That don't make no sense. He must mean he used to live near the river. I mean, I fished the river pretty much. I don't know. Let's see. The Saluda River, I've been fishing probably 20 years now. Oh, Watery. Yeah. I've never fished Watery. I fished about everywhere but Watery. But originally, I grew up fishing like Buffalo Creek area and over there towards Crystal Lake and stuff, because we lived, you know, down towards Ham's Landing and stuff like that. So we always put in at the Sunset Park and Ramp. That's where I caught my 8-pound bass, was right across from Sunset Park and Ramp. Actually, the cool story is the motor on the boat that Daddy had at the time actually didn't want to crank up, so we were just out there floating. I was probably like 8 or 9, and I had a Bill Dance popper with a big lip on it. And I'm, 8, 9 years old. I'm just throwing out in the middle, working the lure just because I thought it was cool. And lo and behold, one blew up on it, and it's like a blur in my mind because it was so long ago. But I remember it blowing up. I freaked out, and the fish took off with it. Daddy took the pole and lifted it up, and it was in the net. But he went 8 pounds. The biggest bass I've ever caught. I've had some close to it since then, but no. Well, I take that back. I caught 12-pounder out of the pond last year, but that don't count. Until I get one out of the lake, that's when it counts. The biggest crappie I ever caught was 15 inches and 2 pounds something. But we didn't weigh it. But that's one of the longest crappie I ever caught, I guess. Which ain't very long if you think about it. Oh yeah. Well, it's actually the Hunger Games little whistle where they're like, or whatever they do. I like that movie. Said he's got the starter kit and he's ready. Let's see, what is it? I got a starter kit, getting ready. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. I try to put different stuff, like, yeah, you're going to catch them on a pack of Crappie Man green minnows. But at the same time, I want to get a bunch of colors in there. I mean, I don't know what conditions you're fishing. So I try to give you some bright, some dark. some jig heads and natural colors and unnatural colors. So there'll be something in that box. This mold is the freestyle jig mold. I enjoy pond fishing. Been past 3 days and caught brim, crappie, and a few small bass, but it ain't the same as lake. But catching fish is catching. Hey, that is true. I'll tell y'all a story about the 12-pound bass. We were actually having a birthday party for my nephew, and we've been fishing this pond, I don't know, like 7 years. And the biggest thing we've ever caught out of there was probably like a 2-pounder. But, you know, we go to the birthday party, we bring our rod and reels with us, and we go out there and bass fish a little bit while the kids run around and have fun. And me and my brother were going through the woods, and on the backside of this pond, it's all grown up. It's just a line of trees and bushes and stuff. So I had a wacky worm on, and I was going in the bushes and just flipping out there. And when I hit this fish, he came out of the water. I started freaking out. I took my shoes, my socks off, and I went in the water after this fish. Because I only had like 8-pound test on the spinning reel. Because, I mean, we normally only catch small fish out of it. But I got him on the bank, and I don't know. I freaked out really bad. And then I let her go. And later that day, my nephews were actually fishing, and they caught one that was bigger than it. So it's probably like a 13. But we've never seen a bass bigger than 2 pounds until that day. Out of that pond. Going to fish the Little Saluda. Like the Little Saluda Bridge over there at Little River Marina. They should be there. And if they ain't, they're probably in the channel somewhere. But that middle pillar should be really good right now. But if you're going today, I don't know, that wind blowing pretty good. Which it should calm down after a while. I'd hate to be on the big water right now. Ah, okay, not today. Yeah, I mean, that wind's blowing. Let's see. All right. Oh yeah, almost 7-pounder on a 4-pound test. Shoot. I mean, that's one of the funnest things about crappie fishing. But honestly, I hate it at the same time because like catching, you know, a 5-pound channel cat or a 10-pound channel cat while you're crappie fishing a brush pile, it's honestly fun. But then afterwards, you got to strip all your line off because they done messed it all up. But that's one of the coolest things about crappie fishing because, I mean, a little jig that's imitating, you know, a minnow or a shad, anything in the lake's going to eat it. I can't tell you how many 21-plus inch stripers we have caught on a jig. I hung one last year with my buddy Brian in the red boat. We were fishing at Big Man's, and when he came out the water, I mean, his back was every bit of 18 inches. I didn't see his head. It had to be like at least a 30 plus inch striper. All right, Barry, I'll see you later. Oh no, not Barry, Brian. The message went away. Have fun at work. Don't work too hard. Appreciate you stopping by. But now, I hung a big striper on the jig under Big Man's. And he went from the first pillar on the left, and he ran me all the way around the second pillar and got off. The docks up there are shallow. At Little River? Yeah, most of them shallow. If you don't get no bites at the bridge, you can go to that rock wall and fish the dock on it and probably catch some. They should be on that bridge though. Like if they ain't, I don't know. And if you go on up Little River, like you go the channel and when it turns and gets to all the grass, there's a big brush pile right there and like 30 foot of water. I mean, wind ain't always terrible. As long as you got a way to tie up or anchor. Because they bite better in the wind, in my opinion. Wind just makes it harder on the fishermen not to fish. Like some of the days we limit out the fastest is when we're just tied up to big mans and the wind's blowing like 10, 14 through that channel. Oh, at the Little River landing? Okay, cool. I don't know when we're going to go try it out. We were supposed to try it out this past week, but we didn't get around to it. They've been biting really good mid-lake for us. So, I don't know. But, I mean, it is time for them to be at the Little River Bridge. I would definitely fish it thoroughly. Oh, they say the fishing is good. Like I said, around January, February, it gets really good at Little River. But anyway, guys, I'm going to hop off here. I got to go to the school and pick up one of my kids. So, check out the jigs. We got new jig heads and new jig colors on the website. There's a video coming out tomorrow. I appreciate each and every one of y'all hanging out with me. And I'll see you on the next live. I don't even know how to... Oh, there we go. Later, guys.